Hello everyone, my name is Jen. Welcome to my channel. This is a channel about the crafts that I get up to, namely cross stitch, crochet, sewing, lots of fun stuff. So I wanted to come back today to do an update to let you fill you in on what I've been working on. Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you are a returning viewer. I very much appreciate that. It's been a while since my last video. It was sometime at the end of May, and since then we have moved halfway across the country, I guess. So that went pretty well, I guess. I mean, it's moving. It was a big adjustment, but we made it, and we've been working away on our new home, which has been fun. So for having been gone for 3 months, I probably have less than I would normally have, but like I said, we moved and we've been doing a lot of work around the house. So I'm just going to get started because I don't know how long this is going to be. I don't want it to be too long, so you can all get back to enjoying your summer. So I think I will start with cross stitch like I always do. So let's get going. So finishes for cross stitch. Last time we spoke, I was working on Spring Sampler, and this is designed by Subrosa on Etsy. So I had started and then I had to restart because I made a counting error. Last time, I think I had been starting the berry bowl and I had some of the border done and the alphabet. So I did finish, got the whole thing done, and I meant to finish it, and then we moved in here and I just didn't get around to it. So I used, I don't even remember what I used now, and I've put all the threads away, but just various overdyes, and I think it's really sweet. I did change the house to white, like I mentioned in my last video. And then I did a bit of backstitching. So this was the first part of the pattern, and it also came with a little pattern for a pin keep, and it's called the Happy Pigs Pin Keep. So I stitched this on, when I first started this project, I was using this fabric, and then I miscounted. So I just stitched the little pigs. Oh, good grief. I need those clips, which are actually sitting right over there. So there are the little pigs, and I just picked my own floss for those. So I will turn this into a little cushion, and I will fully finish the spring sampler, but I probably won't bother until next spring anyway. And yeah, I thought those were so sweet. So spring sampler and Happy Pigs Pin Keep from the Subrosa design on Etsy. That's a mouthful. So now I can put this one away. And then I was working on, I had pulled out some older works in progress that have just been sitting around forever, and I decided to finish those. So first up is, this is a Mill Hill buttons and bead kit, and I can't remember what it's called. Goldfinch. Maybe it's just goldfinch. So the goldfinch on the echinacea blossoms. I really love this piece. Goldfinches are probably my favorite birds, and I am happy to say that we do have some in our yard here. I haven't seen them for years and years. So it was fun to stitch on this outside when I could, and every once in a while I'd catch a glimpse of some real goldfinch. I feel like this took me way longer than it should have. It's very stitch heavy, which is no surprise for a Mill Hill buttons and beads. And I think I also mentioned last time that this will be the last one I stitch on the perforated paper. I really don't enjoy it, and that's also why it takes me so long. So from now on, I'll be stitching these just on 14 count Aida. That I'll just match up with whatever perforated paper comes in the kit. But there we have our beautiful little goldfinch. This is one of the older kits, so the button is still ceramic. Yeah, there's not a ton of beads in this one, but just enough to give it that little bit of a sparkle. I love these flowers so much. I dug up a garden bed in our backyard, and that's all I planted in it was coneflower and echinacea. So super excited to see if the goldfinch will actually come there. But the bees love it, so that's good. So that was my other finish. And the other really old work in progress that I decided to work on and try to finish, I think this is from 2019. So I call this French window. I don't know what it's actually called. It's from a French magazine, or it's from a magazine from Europe called Anna. Well, then that's in French, so, but I know you can get it in other countries there too. So I call this French window. This is it. Last time I had the shutters and the window and a little bit of the greenery done. And so I finally finished it off. I do need to put it in a frame, or I would like to put it in a frame, because this is one that I like to keep up all year round, or that I would like to keep up all year round. Things like that you see up there that are just pinned to the wall, those are just kind of seasonal things, or just things that I wanted to see at the moment. But I would like to put this one in a frame, because I actually have a photograph of a very, very similar window that I took when I went to France last time. So if I find that, maybe I'll frame that too. But anyway, it was nice to get another project completed and have another empty project bag, because I've been filling the project bags back up. Despite me saying, you know, I didn't want to start too many new things. I have started quite a few new things, and I blame it on the move, because you're just all kind of scattered and not focused, and anyway, but it's okay. So those are my finishes. Next up are my works in progress. So this is one that I started in 2018, I think. This is from this book from Joan Elliott, and it is Oriental Lady Grace. I just call her Summer Geisha. So that is what I picked up. I haven't made as much progress on this as I would like to, and it's probably because I have photocopied the chart from the book, and it's 4 pages, and I've taped them all together. So I really can just work on that in here with the big piece of paper out. I can't really transport it anywhere. So, and I'm not in here as much as I would like to be. But I have made some progress. Last time you saw it, I had this completed, so I'm starting to move down and over. And this is 14 count fiddler's cloth, I think, or oatmeal Ada. I don't know the difference between those two. Anyway, it's that tan one. So when I work on it, it's easy. It's 14 count Ada. There's relatively large blocks of color, but then there are also, you know, smaller bits just to keep you interested. So I would still like to work on her. I'm not going to call her a focus piece, but I would like to put more time into her before I put her away to do some fall stitching, which I've been really trying to avoid because it's summertime and I just want to stitch on summery things and just enjoy the season that I'm in. I mean, it's hard enough when I go out and there's Halloween in the stores, and I was at Costco the other day and the Christmas trees are up, and it's just, I don't know about you, but I find that super frustrating. But anyway, I know some people love it. They like to be super prepared, but I just really want to enjoy the season that I'm in because it's been a really nice summer so far. So I just want to kind of keep it going. Okay, so that being said, here's another summer project that I started. This is from Owl Forest Embroidery, and it is called Blue Hydrangea. Now, they had stitched it on this lovely green fabric. And I think this is beautiful. So the hydrangeas here are white and light blue, and they're on this lovely green fabric. But I wanted to do blue hydrangeas. So I think this is last year I bought this chart. I went to my local needle workshop, which I very much miss. And I just picked out a bunch of overdyed blues. So here's a Threadworks. You can see the variegated. There's some classic Colorworks. There's some Weeks Dye Works. There's a Tom and Lily thread in here from France. Anyway, so I wanted the dark blue and the lighter blue hydrangeas. So these are the colors that I'm using. And I decided to stitch this on just an antique white. So this is a 32 count antique white. And this is where I've got so far. And this is really maybe 2 days worth of work. One's out in the garden and one's just sitting here in my craft room. So I'm quite pleased with the progress on this. I haven't worked on it in a couple of weeks, but I wouldn't mind getting back to it. And I think it'll be pretty. I do like it on the green fabric, and I did see a French floss tuber. He is stitching it on the green fabric with all the called for owl forest threads, I believe, and it's beautiful. But I also knew if I stitched it on any kind of colored fabric, it would take me a lot longer, just because of my eyes, that I just get fatigued quicker. And this is something I would like to have completed, you know, sooner than later, like everything. So another new start, I started this during the move. So I think when they were actually physically moving stuff out of our house, you know, you're really just kind of standing around trying to stay out of the way. So I started this one. This is called Sunflower Bell Pull by the Drawn Thread. And that's not very good. So with this project, I was looking through, I don't know if I wanted to start something with sunflowers or I just wanted to start something with flowers, but I was looking through my patterns and I found this one, and I'm embarrassed to say I cannot remember actually buying this one. I think I got it last year when I was in Victoria, I think. But I thought, you know what, if you bought this and you don't remember, like perhaps you should just stitch it and then you can just get rid of it, pass it along. Because yeah, I don't like that. That means I have too much, which I knew anyway, but I don't like to be reminded. So Sunflower Bell Pull by the Drawn Thread. So a band sampler bell pull, it does have specialty stitches between the bands. Yeah, you can't really see there. There's too much glare. So I haven't done any of the specialty stitches because, well, I just, you know, waiting around for people to move my stuff and being in a hotel, it was just kind of difficult to do that. So I have completed almost the whole alphabet, and I'm just kind of picking out my own threads. I'm not using the called for. So I will go back. I should probably do that soon, go back and do the specialty stitches. But this is where I'm at so far. And this is, you know, it should be down to here at least, I'm thinking. Yeah, it's very pretty, nice and summery. I like that one. So that was what? New start number 2. Yeah, new start number 2. Then we have another new start, 2 more new starts. So this was very impulsive. I do remember buying this chart. So this is Season Sampler Summer from Madame Chantilly. This is one part of the pattern. It's got 3 patterns in it. So there's the house. Oh, here we go. Here's the 3. So I'm stitching this. And I don't think I'll stitch these just because they're the same motifs for the most part that are up there. Okay, I need a different setup in here because there's way too much glare. Okay, so anyway, I'm stitching this, and I changed the fabric and I changed the colors. I changed the fabric because I have this green pin dot. So 32 count, so it's got the little polka dots on it that are like painted on. Because the fabric, the fabric in the model is just a natural, and the colors of the shades of lavender were, I don't know, they were more muted and it went with that fabric better. But this one I wanted to brighten it up a little bit, so I just picked some different lavenders, and there is an alphabet there. I doubt you can see it. So anyway, those are the lavenders, the lavender blossoms. So I'm happy with those. Yeah, I know you can't really see the white on there, but I'm almost halfway completed, so I'm just going to stick with it. There are 3 other seasons, so I'll be a little bit more mindful when I stitch the other ones of the fabric that I use. I guess the other thing I could have done was I could have changed the letters to a different color, like maybe just even a light gray or a lavender. But for now, this is what we're going to do. So this isn't too much stitching, but I also need really good light and my better magnifiers for this one. So, and this is how big that will be. But anyway, I like the colors. I thought it was very pretty. I wish you could I wish you could see the letters. And then I just noticed the other day, so I just finished stitching the X and the Z, and I noticed that there is no letter Y in here. So I didn't check my other season sampler patterns to see if there's a Y in there, and then I thought, well, maybe I should go, if she's got a website, to check to see for any errata there. But I've already stitched it and I don't want to unpick it because it's white thread on a pale fabric, so it's a little bit hard to see anyway. So I'm just gonna leave it. But you know what, since you can hardly see the letters anyway, I guess it doesn't matter. So, summer season sampler from Madame Chantilly. And my last new start is from a French magazine. So I had a subscription to this last year, and this was the last issue that I received, and I absolutely adore this one. These swallows, they're called Hirondelles in French. So I'm stitching this one. And I also stitched from here a card for my daughter's birthday, which I don't have because I mailed it to her, but I stitched her this lady and I changed her dress to green and I changed the initial to my daughter's initial, and it was a lot of fun. However, so the one I'm stitching, the Hirondelle, I don't have a lot of progress on this one, so I started just right here, and I think I'm using the called for. I must be using the called for. So, and I'm using one strand over one square fabric because this is an Aida, and I think this might be an 18 count. If it's not an 18, it's a 16. But I found that 2 strands was way too bulky, and this is such beautiful fabric. I don't know if it's going to get washed out, but it's very much like a sky, and I love it. I thought it'd be perfect for that. So this is all that I have completed on that so far. And again, I just haven't worked on it because the crosses are very teeny tiny, and the light colors on the light fabric sometimes are a challenge, so it just depends on the time of day and if I feel like it, like stitching on that one. But anyway, this was my other new start, and I hope that's it for new starts for a while. Yeah, because I did have a nice little rotation going on that I was rather enjoying. So, you know, barring any more upheaval in my life, I should be able to get back to it and make some progress on some other things. And I think that's it. I think that's it for cross stitch. Check my list. Yeah, that's it for my cross stitch. So at the moment, I don't really have too many plans, just to kind of work on these projects, you know, until I decide that I really want to do some fall stitching. I have a lot of fall projects started from before, so I would start those. So that's it for the cross stitch. Okay, 20 minutes, that's not too bad. I hope to get back into a better, a more regular filming schedule. So, you know, hopefully I'll be back in a month or 6 weeks or so with some more progress on my cross stitch. But for now, that's all I have to say about that. So I'm going to talk about my crochet projects next. So if that's all you're interested in, the cross stitch, well, thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully we'll see you again. Okay, so crochet, I guess I've done a lot. I guess compared to my last move, I feel like I've hardly done anything, but I have completed quite a few things, well, 4. So the last time that we spoke, I was working on a blanket, and I did finish that. This is Karen Cotton Cakes, and I can't remember the pattern I used. If it was from Attic 24. I mean, if you really want to know, it's in my last video. So I did finish that, and I just put a teeny tiny little border on it. I wasn't going to, but I had extra yarn left over, so I thought I'd do that. And I don't think I used all the cakes that I had allocated for this, because I thought it was big enough, and I was getting really bored of it. But it's a nice size. So it's just a throw size, but it's lovely for summer because it's nice and drapey, and it's light, and it's not too hot. So on a day like today, which is chilly, it would be perfect. But we've had some very hot days here, so this is not getting a ton of use at the moment. But yeah, just finished that. I just did the pattern, just yarn, no color control or anything. And more yarn out of the stash, which when you move and all of your stuff is out all at once, you realize how much you got. So it was good to get this out of the stash. I also started a sweater. So I don't have a ton of room here. I am in a stand-up, so you can see, you'll see part of it. So this is called the, sorry. So this is called the Sweet Pea Top, and I bought this as a kit from Lion Brand website a couple of years ago. So there is the cover photo, and this is by Rachel Misner, whose company name is Evelyn and Peter Crochet. Okay, so the Sweet Pea Top from Lion Brand. So this was a kit, and it uses the Lion Brand True Boo yarn. That's the label on that. And the color for this one is Sky, I believe. Yes, it's Sky. So this yarn is 100% rayon from bamboo. The kit required 3 skeins, or it came with 3 skeins, and you use almost all 3, and this is a size medium, and I used a 4mm hook. So this took about 8 to 10 days to finish, and if I had been focused and dedicated, it would have been a lot quicker. Very easy. It's got some neckline shaping at the back, which is nice. It's not just, you know, 2 rectangles that you crochet and sew up. It was a lovely, lovely pattern, and I will definitely make this pattern again because I loved it. But here's the thing. So when I first made it and I tried it on, it was perfect. I love the fit. I love the drape of the yarn. It's nice. It's so soft. The yarn is a little splitty. So I guess that wasn't fun, but since I finished it and I've worn it and then I washed it, I would have washed it in cold. I can't remember if I hung it up to dry or I put it in the dryer. I think it says line dry or lay flat to dry. I can't remember if I did that or not. But somewhere in the whole laundry process, it stretched. And I also didn't wash it in a bag, which would prevent it from stretching. So the sweater, it has gotten bigger since I washed it. And I don't love it as much. So I'm hoping the next time I wash it, and I'm going to wash it in a bag, and I'm going to throw it in the dryer, I'm hoping that it will go back to its original size. Because yeah, like I said, it did grow kind of quite a bit. However, I will show you, stand on the chair. So this is the sweater. It was probably about 3 inches shorter, 2 inches shorter. And it grew out this way too. However, it's still quite nice. Like I said, it had some neckline shaping in the back, which I thought was very nice. The neck part was super easy. It's just a nice kind of mesh pattern. It's very light. The yarn, like I said, I think it drapes really well. So, I'm sorry, I know this isn't the best vantage point. I just can't back up any further. Yeah, so if you're interested in an easy summer top, I totally recommend this pattern. The yarn, despite being splitty, is very nice. I think next time though, I will try a different yarn. I did get a second set of 3 skeins of the True Boo, and it's in this purpley color, the same one that she's wearing. I think it's called Mushroom, but it's like a violet, a deep violet. I won't use that for myself because that color won't look good at all. So I'm going to try something different, but excellent, excellent pattern. Totally loved it. And I love it when you find a good pattern from a designer and then you can go, I'm pretty sure she's got, I think she has a blog because I've been there before. But then you know when she tried one thing that everything else is probably going to be pretty good too. So that was my garment for the summer. I was really hoping I would get a summer sweater completed this year. And since I've moved, I've joined, there's a group that meets at the library once a week, and it's just for knitters and crocheters to go and hang out and work on your stuff. So since going there, that has really helped me to work on some projects, and that's how I was able to get this one finished. So I've also made, this is a gift for my daughter. So I'm going to send this out to her. This is an Etsy pattern. I can't remember the name off the top of my head because I did work on the pattern off of my tablet, but I will link it below. So I made this chicken. And this was like 2 days worth of work, and it uses that blanket yarn, I think. So I had to buy an enormous skein of this. So I'll make another one, I guess. Or actually, no, I'm going to give the yarn to somebody so she can make her own chicken. Yep, so that's, you start at the bottom and you go all the way around and stuff it, make the comb. I didn't use blanket yarn for the comb. I just used a worsted. No, it was basically like a DK, and I just held it together. And then there's a little beak that's just worsted. You just embroider that on. His little eyes. Anyway, I love him. I think he's sweet. So I think my daughter will like it too. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And what else? Oh yes, since joining the library group, so I took my project bag to put my sweater in, and then I noticed that I had half of a sock started. So I thought I should just finish the socks. So I finished the socks. This is the usual sock pattern that I use for crochet socks. It's not available anymore. This is the only pattern I use. So these were the socks, and I used Barocco Comfort Sock. for them. And this is all acrylic, I believe. No, 50% nylon, 50% acrylic. It's very slippy. I don't know how these are going to wear. I have a feeling that they're just going to stretch, but I'm really not sure. So I just made them short. I mean, because it's summertime. I just made them short, and I'll see how much they stretch. I haven't worn them yet. And yeah, but I honestly, I didn't love this yarn. I just found it to be, I don't know, splitty, and it just didn't feel nice to work with. So that's what we have for that. And then the next project up is more socks. I'm going to do some Halloween socks, and this is Halloween sock wool from Hobby Yarns, however you say that. So that's my next, this is what I'll be working on the next time I go to the library for Yarn Club. I don't know if it's called Yarn Club, I just call it Yarn Club. And yeah, that's it for the crochet. And so the last thing I have to talk about is quilting. I still haven't finished my stained glass quilt. That's next up in the queue. I have to sew that together. I'm still scared of how I'm going to quilt that. I don't know, but that'll come later. So since I've moved back here, I've been getting together with one of my crafty friends. So every 2 weeks we get together. We either I go to her house or she comes to my house, and we just sew all day, and it's awesome. So that's given me a chance to start, well, I finished a project, which was great, and then I started a new project. So this project I finished was my cherry quilt. And this is a pattern from Lori Holt's Farm Girl Vintage book. So that's the pattern. I made the 12-inch block. So I made 9 12-inch blocks, and I think I started them last summer. This has been a very slow going project. And I can't even remember how much I had finished the last time that I did a video. I know I had the blocks done, but I don't think I had anything joined together. So I've finished that. So it's just a wall hanging. It's 9 blocks and just random aqua prints for sashing. I just did a simple crosshatch quilt pattern for the quilting. And yeah, I love this. I love the colors. So there's nowhere, I don't have anywhere near my kitchen to hang this, so it's currently hanging in the front entryway. I like it there, but we'll see. So, yeah, I can't show you the whole thing. And then for the back, this is a vintage tablecloth, because this is linen. I found this at the thrift store a couple years ago, and I loved it, and I wanted to use it for something. So I used it for the back of this quilt, and it was like exactly the perfect size. I mean, you can't see it because it's up against the wall, but I thought that was so pretty. So anyway, it was really nice to get that finished. I know it's just a small thing, but that's okay. So I love that. And then because I finished a project I was working on, I started something new. So this is called, I've had this in the queue for a long time. Last year I bought a fat quarter bundle, and I believe it's called Slow Stroll. And the quilt I am doing is called Autumn is Calling. There's the mock-up. It's called Autumn is Calling from Wendy Shepherd. And I got the pattern from Quilters World magazine, Autumn 2021. So I've got all the blocks done. I'm starting to sew them together. So I'm going to show you, this is just half of the quilt. So I'm hoping today or soon to do the other half, get those sewn together. Then there will be a small inner border and then a larger outer border. Maybe by the next time I see you, that will be finished. So that's essentially the gist of it. You got a large 18-inch leaf block, And then next to it is another 18-inch block, but with 3 leaves, and they're all different. And they're just bright fall colors. Yeah, so this is going to go on our bed. Because it'll be big. It'll be big enough to lay across the top of our bed, which is a king-size bed. And, but that's also why I'd like to get it completed soon enough so that at least by the end of September I can have it on the bed. It's a good pattern. I enjoy this. I know there are a lot of horror stories about quilt patterns in magazines. I looked everywhere if there was errata for this pattern. I couldn't find it. So I did the pattern. It's pretty good. Maybe like a couple instructions are missing, but they're not so crucial that you couldn't make the quilt. It's a lot of half square triangles, which is fine. I don't mind that. And now that I have that half square triangle ruler, that I'm not going to say it makes my blocks perfect, but it makes them so much more accurate than if I didn't have the ruler, and everything fits together so much better now that I have that ruler. So I use that quite a bit. Well, I use it all the time that I have to make half square triangles. Yeah, there's a lot of cutting in this quilt, but I mean there's a lot of cutting in most of the quilts. The blocks go together super fast, and yeah, it's been a pleasure to work on, so I'm just kind of focusing on getting that done, and then I'll decide, because this is kind of a new project, I'll decide if I'm going to pick up one that I'd already started or start another one in the queue. But I've got the boxes of projects like ready to go, so I won't start anything that's not in a box. That was a lot of rambling. But anyway, that's it. That's all I have to show. I've been doing a lot of, no, I have not been doing a lot of crafts. A lot of different things. My husband and I have been doing a lot of work, mostly in the garden. My husband is doing so much work in the garden, but thankfully we're kind of at the end of all the heavy lifting for the year. So from now on, I should be able to stitch outside, which will be nice, and get some more cross stitches done, because it's nice to stitch outside because the light's better. The light inside the house is terrible, so we have to address that, and hopefully get that done before the end of fall so that I can stitch inside. The craft room is set up. That took me forever, but at least it's set up. I can sew in here, and when my friend comes over, we can both be in here sewing, so that's nice. Other than that, yeah, I'm just gonna stop talking. So anyway, I appreciate you coming back and catching up with me. I hope it won't be so long for the next catch up. And yeah, I hope you're having a great summer. I hope you have a great September, and we will talk when we talk. Happy days, friends.